Let's Dance Asshole.wave.
Let's dance, asshole.
That one. Welcome to RP Jingle Bell Club, the podcast where we play a jolly bit of a Christmas game and talk about the reason for the season. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we will be talking about Blue Stinger for the Dreamcast, a technically Christmas game, just like Parasite Eve and Die Hard and all those other technical Christmas games that we stoop to because all the cowards are afraid to just make a Santa JRPG.
And I will say this was my idea because I was like, hey, I've heard of this crazy Dreamcast game that takes place at Christmas called Blue Stinger. We should play it. And I'm sorry because it turns out it sucks, but also I'm not sorry because it turns out it rules.
Yeah. That's that shit we do like. But before we get to Blue Stinger, how was everyone's week?
I started playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Is it as good as it looks?
It is really good. It's a Metroidvania. I hate that term. I try to say Metroid-like. It's a Metroid-like where it's very inspired by Celeste and similar games.
Nice.
So there's lots of crazy platforming challenges, and you can do an air dash, and it's really, really fun. I wasn't feeling it at first. I think mainly because there is a lot of plot and lore at the beginning, and I'm like, I just want to run and jump and find upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to the running and jumping and finding upgrades, really fun. And also the combat is like really intense.
Nice. Yeah, I really like Metroid likes more than I like Igavanias. Igavanias are okay, but Metroid likes are my favorite flavor of it. Would you say it's more Metroid like or Igavania on the spectrum?
I don't fucking know. Probably more Igavania because like there are shops and you get money and you buy stuff.
Yeah.
Capitalism.
Yeah, those are fine, but there's just something about like you found the space boots and now you can jump more that just rule a lot. But I'll still
same.
give it a shot.
Agreed.
I also saw that on PlayStation Plus for this month they added Forged in Shadow Torch, which is apparently also a really good Metroid-like Gavania, and so I want to play that one too. And those are good.
I see it stars a bunny man.
Yeah. Yeah. Metroid likes are a really good like weekender game where it's just like it doesn't take too long to beat. You can just hang out with it and play it in a couple of sessions and not have to commit hundreds of hours to it if you don't want to. And
Yeah.
One thing about The Lost Crown is that it is fairly long. It's like 20 hours long apparently.
Oh wow, that's pretty long.
It's pretty long for a Metroid.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Trish? How's your week been?
It has been up and down, but mostly up. I'll probably save the down stuff for the post show. So, as happens, I think on a semi-regular basis, I am not recording from my house with my usual setup, which is why I might sound a little odd. I won't know until later. But I am currently in Jersey, and I am staying at one of my girlfriend's places because I traveled to and fro to spend time with those I love. And I've actually recorded in this very room, in this very spot before. And we're having a lovely time. It's been really nice. The biggest thing, I'll save a lot for the post show, but what I will say here are two main things. Is one, I saw my first ever Broadway show.
Oh,
Which was
nice.
incredible.
What was it?
I saw Hadestown. And
I think you mentioned you were going to see that.
I did. I cried a lot. It was so good. I could probably talk about how good it was for an entire length of a podcast episode. It was magical. It really just ignited that feeling in my brain. I was like, God, I haven't been to theater in a while. I need to go to more theater productions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love a good theater production. plays are fun. There's just something like we talked about it afterwards about this, like, I'm sure at some point there's a good chance that they're going to try to make a Hades Town film, and like, sure, they can try. I don't think you can I don't think it is possible to properly capture Hades Town in film form, because the performance is kind of the point. It's kind of like, I like the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead film, but I think it is spiritually incongruous with the text itself, because the text is about plays.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, I randomly got a letter a couple days ago from my wife back home, who got a letter for me from the court
Oh.
about the name change stuff. And I was sent what was inside. I don't have to go in front of a judge. I am now legally Patricia Hankins. I don't have to do any other bullshit. That's not true. I do have to do a lot of bullshit because I have to get that changed on my passport. I need to get a state ID with that. I need to go on a billion websites and change that. There's a bunch of other shit to do. But at least legally, my name is changed.
Nice.
For you.
I posted a lot of servers. I didn't post it in this one specifically because I wanted to wait and say it on the podcast. But I'm very happy.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you have one less step, because this has been way too many steps already.
Oh yeah, it's been as podcast listeners who've been listening regularly know, it has been a nightmare, and I've woken up from the nightmare.
You did it.
What about you, Sam? What have you been up to?
Scarlett's fucking 8 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's insane. Remember that newborn baby that was crying in the background of episode 1? I mean, you guys don't. The listeners might. You guys weren't here in episode 1. But yeah, that baby's 8 now. We're on year 6 of the podcast. We're really bad at finishing a year in a year. We were 2 years behind.
That's wild. You are the father of an 8-year-old.
I'm a father of an 8-year-old. So,
wait, wouldn't we be 3 years behind since Scarlett has completed 8 years and we are at the beginning of a 6th year?
Yeah, so we're 3 years behind.
I think that's how that works.
Something
I don't know.
that.
I'm not very smart.
Me neither. So
Me,
Scarlett.
thirdly.
Scarlett had her first birthday party. Besides the fact, like, when she was a newborn, she had a quote-unquote birthday party, but she was in a room where all of our friends were, and we were hanging out and giving Scarlett presents, and it wasn't really, like, her party. So this was, like, her first one, and it was at Chuck E. Cheese, and I didn't realize this until I got there, and the other dads were, like, talking about how old hat and dumb all of the Chuck E. Cheese stuff was, and I was off. I was about to say an idiom that I could tell was the wrong one. I don't know what it was going to be, but it was not going to be right. But I was high on life with everything Chuck E. Cheese, and I realized I have had one birthday party growing up, and that was my 14th birthday party, and it was just my friends hanging out at my house, and that was it. So I was definitely living vicariously through Scarlett, having a blast at Chuck E. Cheese, but she had a blast at Chuck E. Cheese, and that was amazing.
That's incredible. I'm happy. I never had a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, or have really been to one, so that sounds amazing.
Do I remember correctly that Chuck E. Cheese pizza is fucking awful?
No, I really like it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
I mean,
Hopefully,
maybe it's changed in like the more than a decade since I went to my nephew's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese and ate the pizza and was like, wow, I don't like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like, hey, if you the real secret is to go to Chuck E. Cheese on a weekday so that you can get some pizza. But like I've had much shittier pizza from places that weren't that were trying to give you regular pizza.
Oh, I 100% it. I would be so surprised if I tried Chuck E. Cheese pizza. It was the worst pizza I've ever had, because the worst pizza I think I've ever had has been solidly claimed. But yeah, I really hope that sometime within my lifetime, some mad scientists out there absolutely destroy the walls Mother Nature has put between me and childbirth, and me and my wife can Rochambeau over it, and I can experience what you're experiencing.
Life finds a way.
Or we'll adopt, but it would be more fun the other way.
Yeah. But other than that, Christmas is in a couple of days, and I have been doing a lot of cross stitching, which means I've been doing a lot of audiobook listening, and I have completed the tome, and none of my friends are anywhere close to completing the tome, so I just have to. I just have to sit here.
Friends sound like real jerks, leaving you high and dry like that.
Yeah, I just have to sit here for a long time, knowing how Wind and Truth ends, and have no one to talk to about it, and it's fun.
If you want server invites to the Stormlight servers I'm in that have a bunch of other people who have finished it, I can give them to you.
No, I don't want a bunch of other people. I want 2 people. I want Brian and Trish to finish the book so I can talk to Brian and Trish. I don't want 1 million people to talk to.
There's only 100 people in the server.
That's a lot more than 2.
That's a lot more than 2.
That is 2 orders of magnitude more than 2.
You're just sitting there like...
There's nothing I can do!
So as a palate cleanser, because not only did I just finish a giant tome, that's the 20-something giant tome that I finished in a row since I restarted my Brandon Sanderson journey back in August. So I absolutely needed a palate cleanser. So I was listening to the second Welcome to Night Vale novel, and I forgot how delightful Night Vale was, and I went to look and see how many episodes I've missed, and then I realized I haven't listened to it since before I met Summer, so I have too many episodes that I've missed, and I don't think I'm going to go back to catch up on it. But it was fun revisiting that world through the audiobook, and I like it a lot.
I know that feeling. I just recently, after catching up on that podcast you gave me, 52 Pickup, I was like, cool, I love comic book podcasts. I should go back to my main one, the one I've been listening to longer than I've listened to any podcast ever, that I have been listening to for literally a decade at this point. It's been a while. I haven't caught up, and I've been listening, and I was like, yeah, I'm making good progress. Oh wait, I just hit the start of 2024. Fuck. Oh dear, I've got so much still to go.
Yeah. So,
Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men is a really good podcast. People should listen to it.
Nice. But, yeah, other than books and cross-stitching, I have not done a whole lot else. The other things that I have done, we will talk about in the post-show, because I have a lot of weird things that are going to be fun to dig into. But speaking of weird things that are fun to dig into...
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I fucked it up. It's okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
One fun thing that happened to me this week is the Homestar Runner YouTube page released about 21 minutes of Decemberween content, which made me extremely happy. Technically, it's apparently stuff from 2022 that I just missed, but they're just repackaged it, put it all together, and added some new stuff to it. But it's 21 minutes, which for Homestar Runner is a lot of content.
that's so much.
Yeah.
So that made me extremely happy.
That's awesome. I should check that out because I like Homestar Runner. And I also
It's
missed it.
good. There's a new character.
I don't like that.
Neither does Strong Bad.
But yeah, speaking of weird things that rule kind of actually, let's talk about Blue Stinger.
Speaking of characters we don't like. So, what should I play first? The Jolly Christmas music or the horrible cacophony exploration music?
I love it. The music in this game is going to 12 out of 10 at all times.
It doesn't matter how low you set the volume on your TV. The music is gonna be loud.
Yeah. And then you'll destroy a monster and it'll drop coins and then your speakers will blow because it plays the same sound effect 900 times on top of each other. So, Blue Stinger. Normally I do like a history and all that. I didn't look it up. This is by the people that did D2, which is also has snow in it. So maybe we'll end up playing D2 next year. Who knows? I don't know if it's Christmas, but it's snowy and we're running out of Christmas games. 65 million years ago, the Cretaceous period, a big-ass asteroid kills all the dinosaurs, and they've held a grudge ever since. Activision presents. And that's it. It never brings a title card. It says Activision presents with a colon, and it never says Blue Stinger the entire game. I thought that was hilarious. In the year 2000 AD in the Gulf of Mexico, the distant future, 2000 AD, a great earthquake rocks the Yucatan Peninsula, causing an area of land 400 kilometers in diameter to sink into the ocean, leaving behind only a small island at the exact center of the sunken area. Researchers are astonished to find that the area of land lost to the earthquake is exactly the same size as the meteor which caused the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Don't know how they know this. We have not found the meteor in the real world. So how would they know it's the exact same size? Anyways, this connection to a long-forgotten past gives the island its new name, Dinosaur Island.
We've got a real dino crisis on our hands.
We do.
There's a Resident Evil in this island. Silent Hill.
So now we're in the distant future of the year 2018, the even more distant future. Some big angry space projectile thing hurtles towards the Earth. We see our hero Elliot and his friend Tim on a yacht just off the coast of Dinosaur Island, where Kimura Tech has built a large facility. Tim is captaining the yacht, but it's not his. Kimura Tech lent it to him, provided that he decorates the boat before he returns it, because they want to have a Christmas party on board the ship, because this is a Christmas game. Meanwhile, that space projectile thingy destroys a satellite. Hopefully that's not important. It'll be fine.
No. It was probably just up there for decoration.
Yeah, for the Christmas party.
Yeah.
Elliot asks Tim if the figurine that he's making is part of the Christmas decorations, but he says no, it's a Nephilim from some series or other, and you're supposed to hang it at the front of the ship for good luck. Just then, that projectile from space smashes down exactly into the center of Dinosaur Island, in the middle of the large crater that was already there on the island. The resulting explosion is huge, and it knocks the shit out of the boat while Elliot is radioing in a mayday. But as the shockwave passes halfway through the boat, it stops, leaving a dome-shaped barrier surrounding the island, with Elliot on the inside and Tim on the outside. Well, I mean, mostly on the outside. His hand carrying the Nephilim is stuck inside the barrier.
Also, I want to point out, the Nephilim, it's very much a sexy anime lady figurine.
Yeah, it's isn't it literally supposed to be a first edition figurine he got from some franchise?
Yeah,
which I find extremely funny.
It's so good. So then a Windspren flies from the island and takes the shape of the Nephilim doll, and Elliot is confused as to what she is and raises his flare gun at her, but just then a bunch of weirdo freak-ass monsters zoom at him from the island and smash into the boat and the barrier. Elliot falls into the water and the Windspren thingy flies away. The FMV ends and a helicopter smashes into the pier and Elliot washes ashore. Cool. The sexy anime lady thing flies over to him and gives him a vision of the meteor hurtling through space and some freaky ass dragon thing.
And she doesn't even have the courtesy to give him a flashing light warning.
No. Nope. She flies off and heads into the city past a large gate. Elliot follows, and then he gets a call on his codec from the KISS Dinosaur Island Security Office.
Do we know what KISS stands for?
She says it in this part, but I didn't write it down what it meant. And they
I
just
guess I missed. I guess it's like Kimura Industries Security Squad.
Yeah, something like that. The lady on the other end says that the island is under an emergency situation, but before she can explain, the static grows and the call disconnects. Meanwhile, a very weird guy stares at Elliot while intense music plays, and then gameplay resumes, and even if you walk over there, he's not there. They just wanted to play some intense music and show you a weird guy.
It's very ominous. I'm sure this guy's a villain and not our best friend.
It's so bizarre. The entire opening part of this game is fascinating to look at a Dreamcast game do everything they can to give you really strong, like, Hollywood blockbuster kind of cinematography and feeling, but it's also a Dreamcast game. And it tries so hard, and I kind of love it for that. But I'm also pulling my hair out over shit like this.
The Kiss lady calls us back and asks us for help, but Elliot is like, "I'm just on vacation. I'm not here on a mission." She groans like this is the most annoying thing in the world and tells us to pilfer an ID card from one of the corpses that are, quote, sure to be around there somewhere. We go in the door, and there sure are some corpses around here somewhere. We get an ID card from one of the bodies and head farther ashore. But as we cross into the next area, a giant freak of a necromorph-ass thing attacks us.
It's not a dino.
It's not a dino. This is called Dinosaur Island for fun. That's it. No dinos in this game.
I mean, the final boss is kind of a dino.
I was about to say, one of the things I will give this game is I think the weird, freaky monsters have really fun designs, especially with how many of them, like, still, like, these early ones, it's, like, mostly still a dude, but just with a bunch of weird, freaky monster limbs coming out of him and stuff. But then, like, the worst ones later, it's, like, almost full freaky monster, but you just can, like, barely see, like, a man's pants and legs coming out of one side, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and I like how you can shoot their head off, but they keep coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
It's very The Thing.
Mm-hmm. So, as the big necromorph is attacking us, that weird guy with the intense music comes in to save the day and shoots the monster to save us. So his name is Dogs, and he's the captain of the SS Diane, and he's a friend of Tim's. He asks Elliot where Tim is, and Elliot says he doesn't know, and Dogs does not like that as our answer. He
Dogs is like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so good.
That line read stuck in my head. I like it.
He asks why we're here, and Elliot says that as a member of Acer, or Acer, he pronounces it different every time. It's ESER. He's a rescuer, and people need his help. Dog says that Elliot is a wimp, and that we will need his help, so he's coming with us. So now, the game, you have a party. It's like a Resident Evil like, but you have a party of characters. And by that I mean you swap characters in the menu. It's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird. And when you go to Switch, there's a thing that says, "You are now dogs."
Mm-hmm.
Which,
be the other guy.
Cap. No, I don't care about the other guy. You are now dogs.
It's fun. I like this mechanic. It's weird, but I like it.
It's really, oh god, what's the word? My brain's wanting to say grody, but it's not grody. It's clunky as hell. Yeah. It's clunky fun.
Mm-hmm. So we make our way inside, and then the Nephilim shows up and gives Elliot and Dogs another vision of the center of the island with the large dragony thing. She disappears again, and Dogs asks Elliot if he knows what's going on, and Elliot says absolutely not. And I say, me too. we make it to the next area where we're assaulted by another giant freak of a monster, only to be saved by Janine, who's watching from a guard tower in front of us. That's right. They use the saved from an early combat by a badass party member introduction twice in a row for both of the other characters that we meet in this game. It's wonderful. Janine says that we should take the shuttle and come up and see her. So we head inside the shuttle depot, and the doors to the shuttle are locked. So we need to turn on the system so that we can open them. But when we turn them on, the computer registers an issue with the emergency stop control thing. And unless it's repaired in 130 seconds, the shuttle's brakes will fail and send the shuttle crashing into the ground. And from inside the shuttle, we hear a scream of someone who was locked inside who feels the shuttle lurching, and they're like, shit, I don't want to die. So then it wastes 10 entire seconds of your countdown, making you listen to that same announcement twice. It starts at 130 seconds and then says 125 seconds and then says 120 seconds before you can finally go in.
And Elliot's finally like, shit. It's going down.
Yeah.
There are several timed events in this game, and I think it's neat. I enjoy it. I think I would enjoy it a lot less if I were playing this on original hardware and couldn't use save states and stuff.
Yeah. So right now you have 120 seconds to find and save this guy, except because we're on the US version, the camera, it's a third-person shooter instead of a Resident Evil-like. So the computer terminal thing that you need to interact with to save the guy is now behind you because the camera's behind you, so you don't get to see it. So I walk straight past it, and it locks you into the cutscene with Janine, and that cutscene is way longer than 2 minutes. So I have no idea what happens if you save that person, because it's not game over. There just is now a burnt shuttle at the bottom because I walked through one extra door than I was supposed to, and then I was stuck in a cutscene for 2 minutes.
You get a gun if you save the person.
Okay.
This fucking game. The camera is truly the greatest enemy.
And see, the thing is, in the Japanese version, there are authored camera angles. And I played a little bit of the Japanese version to see how it is. And here's the thing, it still sucks.
Yeah.
The camera still sucks. It like swings around in weird ways and like zooms out really far, and it's weird. The camera following behind you actually isn't. It's bad, but it's not like a lot worse than the original version, in my opinion.
Yeah. I wish someone would mod this game to give us analog camera controls on the right stick so that it didn't just whip me around constantly, because it was only shortly after this that I stopped playing because I could not stomach watching the camera move like this.
I played about 3/4 of the game before I gave up, so I feel pretty good.
Yeah. None of us beat this game. So in that aforementioned cutscene with Janine, the moment she sees Nephilim, she starts shooting at her. Elliot tells her that she's harmless so far, and then introduces Janine to Dogs. She says,
which is weird because Dogs has been there the whole time.
Yeah. It is a very awkward, like, 30 seconds of silence in between meeting Janine, and it doesn't give you control back. They're just standing around, and it's like, oh yeah, Dogs, this is my friend.
And this is like the main character keeps being like, yeah, she's my kind of girl. I gotta make sure no one else gets her but me. And I'm like, dude, please stop. Please, for the love of God, stop this.
It's weird. Also, one thing about this game's cutscenes is that the voice acting does not match up with the character's movements at all. And like there will be like people moving their mouths for like a full 2 or 3 seconds after someone stops talking. And so you're probably like, well, I guess it was time for the Japanese dub. There is no Japanese dub.
There's no Japanese dub.
In the Japanese version, they're speaking English.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, this was actually in one of my memorable moments, but I'll bring it up now. So normally when you play a Japanese game from the 90s, you have a bunch of really bad literally translated sentences because of the American translators were bad at Japanese. This is the odd reverse of that, where the Japanese people were really bad at English. So it is still crappy, broken, literal translated Japanese English sentences, but it feels so much different because it's Japanese people writing in English poorly instead of it being a translation error. It's weird, and I love it because it's so bad
The
all the
dialogue in
time.
this game is weird, and I kind of love it.
Mhm.
Except
It
for
describes
Elliot
so
being
much.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever bring it up explicitly, so every time I pause to take a breath, imagine that Elliot says something very sexist, and you'll get the idea.
Yeah.
So Elliot introduces Dogs, and Janine says that she's familiar with him because he's the captain of the SS Diane, and his name is on the blacklist at the local bar for his unpaid tab. Elliot asks Janine what the fuck is happening, and Janine says that she doesn't know. There was some loud, shocking sound, then all the lights on the island went off, and when she restored some of the power, the monsters were there, and they attacked her and hurt her leg. She says that she looked into the database on this place and found records about how Kimura Tech has been making a killing in the bio industry since they founded Dinosaur Island. But digging into what's going on is protected by the programmer security system, and she needs the ID password of a lab employee to break the code.
Yep. That's how things
Oh,
work.
so Sam,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking up D2. I don't
Uh-huh.
think people involved with D2 worked on Blue Stinger.
That is something that the Let's Play on the LP archive, it mentioned that at the beginning. They did change their name. So they're Climax Graphics at this point, but they changed their name to something else.
Yeah,
Is
but the
what
thing
Let's
they
Play
changed
said.
it to is not the company that made D2 and D.
Then
Are you thinking of Illbleed?
Illbleed is exactly the one I was thinking of. It is the
Because
other.
Illbleed is by the Blue Stinger team.
Yeah, I was thinking of Illbleed in my brain and imagining the box art to D2 for Illbleed.
There are a lot of weird Dreamcast games that we haven't played.
Yes.
And there are some weird Dreamcast games that we have played, like Blue Stinger.
Mm-hmm. So Dog says that they might be able to find an ID password of a lab employee at Rat's Place, the local bar, because you can find anything at Rat's Place. So they decide to head to the residential area, which is also called Lab Town, to see what they can find at Rat's Place. They make their way to Lab Town, and when you get there, it is Christmas all over the place. So much Christmas all the time. And as you make your way through it, there's a big safety wall thing that is blocking off part of the town. And wouldn't you know it, Rat's Place is on the other side, so we need to find a way in. Janine calls and says that she can't lower the gate for us because the air compressor is down, but we can make it through if we make our way through the freezer in the market. In the market, we head into the office where we find the manager, Devlin, there, and he says that the vice manager, Roland, has the key. Devlin is super sick and having some sort of attack, so Elliot asks him where his medicine is, and he says that it's at the pharmacy stand, and we have 42 minutes to retrieve the medicine or Devlin will die. So, we make our way to Roland, who, of course, left the key to the freezer in his safe, which he has the key to his safe on him. So we have to go to him to get the key, so we can go to his office to get the key, so we can go through the freezer to get to Rat's Place.
I sure do hope going in the freezer's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's fine. But oh no, inside the freezer, it's too dang cold. The door won't open. We need to raise the temperature by fighting the weird, freaky ice dragon thing that's also in the freezer with us. Not because the ice dragon is causing the temperature, but because it's holding the key to the control room that we just go in and mundanely touch the thermostat to raise the temperature. The ice dragon's just there. All of the bosses in this game are kind of just there. And they're not plot important at all.
And there's no like fanfare. You just like walk in a room and it's like, ah, shit, there's a boss here.
Mm-hmm. And most of the time, it'll pop up a like enemy with a health bar on the top, but not always. There are several bosses that just are there, and you just have to fight them with no idea if you're doing any damage or not. So we finally make it to Rat's place, and the owner inside says that he won't give us any weapons, but if we want a lab key, he has one on his wine rack. But if we take it, he's putting the cost on Dogs' tab. So we make our way all the way back to Janine for the second of a million more times, and she says that they need a passcode to continue. She asks if Elliot has a password for the ID card that we got, and so you type in 0513 May 13th, the guy's birthday, that you can find by inspecting the ID card. There you go. There's the hint. If you're playing along and you're stuck here, that's the hint. You look at it in the menu, and
I'm so glad I didn't like have a Dreamcast as a kid, and this was my only game.
Oh god, that'd be a nightmare.
Because I would have gotten stuck here.
Absolutely. So she hacks the mainframe and gets us in, but we find that we can't get into the lab because there's not enough power. The power that Janine restored is very localized, so we need to go to the power plant to restore power to the whole island somehow. Elliot asks Dogs to stay behind because he's got a bad feeling about it, but Janine says that she doesn't need a babysitter, and Dogs comes with us. But as we leave, she pulls out a locket with Dogs' face in it. Smash cut to Dogs calling her a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny.
Also, I will note, Janine can't come with us because her leg is injured, and so it would be cool if we had a 3-person party, but no.
Yeah,
she has to stay and be on the radio.
Yeah. Speaking of the radio, a thing that happens, they don't want to give Janine just a voiceover, so they cut to a Metal Gear Solid codec every time she's delivering her lines over the radio, but the Dreamcast has to load it. So every time it cuts to, like, if Dogs and Elliot are talking, it just cuts back and forth. But if Janine needs to cut in, it has to load the codec, go to that screen, she say her one line, and then it loads back into the regular thing to continue the cutscene. It's very silly. It's very stupid.
Yeah, in Metal Gear Solid, they were like, what if we put both characters who are talking on the codec screen? Then we don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But...
And even then, in Metal Gear Solid, when it makes sense, it cuts to just a voiceover. Specifically in the like 4th room, I think it is. It's showing you walking around, and you're still having the conversation with the Colonel in that one.
Yeah.
So they did both of the things that would be better than this one. So we make our way towards the interior of the island, but the road has collapsed into a big bottomless chasm, and we can't make our way forward. So Elliot does the only logical thing, and he blows up a giant fuel tank to launch us over the ravine. And I'm not kidding. And there's not even a cutscene explaining this is the only way to do it. That's just the solution to this puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Is to blow yourself up across the ravine.
Are we there already? Man, it just feels like... I guess just the part with the freezer and the grocery store, which we didn't even mention, just felt so long.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like we should be at this part yet, but
no, there's several times where it's like, hey, I need you to walk 15 feet that way and do a very simple task. And the game is like, okay, cool. Elliot needs to learn how to swim, and you have an underwater maze to do that thing. There's a lot of stupid amount of gameplay in between these points.
And you, listener, might be thinking, oh, there's swimming in this game? I wonder if it sucks. It does.
It does. So when we get into the power plant, Janine calls us and asks us what's going on. Elliot says that he's looking for the emergency light. Janine says, there's a control panel next to the emergency light. And Elliot says, got it, thanks, and turns on the emergency light. So the power plant has a burned out cable or something that Elliot does puzzles to find and replace, but there's something that's sucking up the juice, so the system keeps having to reroute the power, and it's not making it to the whole island. So Elliot and Dogs find out that there's some weird monster things feeding on the electricity, and so we go in there, shoot at him, take him out.
It's a
And
very, very annoying boss fight.
Mhm.
Shoot all those things. It's so hard to shoot them, and there's so many of them, and they just keep stun locking you.
Mm-hmm. After we take them out, Elliot says that something is wrong and we got to get out of there. And that's it. There's no timer. Nothing's wrong. Doesn't have to get out of there. That's just what he says to end the
I
boss
mean, there's
fight.
a lot wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there are quite a few things wrong.
He tries to call Janine, but the line is dead. Elliot says that she's probably in trouble, so they hurry back across the whole island again to get to her. How do they get back over the ravine? I'm honestly asking because there's no cutscene about it. In the Let's Play, they just kind of seem to walk straight there. Was there even like the Let's Play was a guy playing it on hard? He obviously knew what he was doing, so he walked where he was supposed to. Is there like things you bump into that are like, oh, there's a tunnel that can go around or something? Or does it just not bring up the fact that you only could get here by blowing up a giant tanker?
I don't remember. There's lots of locked doors in this game, and doors where like you have to get around to the other side of them and unlock them. So it's probably something like that. I don't remember exactly how. I do remember blowing yourself up to cross a ravine.
Yeah. So Nephilim, meanwhile, shows Janine the vision of the space dragon thing and of the space missile smashing into the lab, and this fucks Janine up, and she's collapsed onto the floor. Dogs and Elliot run in, and Dog says, I guess this means that she's not on our side. But then Janine wakes up and says, no, Nephilim's not an enemy. She can just only talk in visions. And as Janine understands it, Nephilim's body and soul have separated, and the Nephilim we've been talking to is her soul, and her body is somewhere else. How she got that from an asteroid crashing into a thing and a face of a weird dragon, who knows?
It's a vibe.
Knows?
So now that the power is restored, we can see a full map of the island, and there's now a big blinking blue light. Elliot guesses, with absolutely no reasoning, that this must be the thing that's causing all of these problems, so we need to head there. Elliot's calculator watch beeps, telling him that it's Christmas, and Janine gives us a car as a Christmas present, so we can drive to the deep lab. But when we get there, we can't get in unless we're sterilized, so we have a homoerotic bathtub scene with dogs before we make it inside the lab. We have to fight this big ugly slime monster, and as it explodes, Elliot accidentally swallows some of the gross slime stuff, which causes purple splotches to cover his body. He says that he's fine and he can still be the protagonist, so we keep on pushing. When we get to the lab, the computer scan system thingy-majigger registers the dinocyte DNA present in Elliot's bloodstream, and he then completes his transformation into a weird purple bug monster thing with Spider-Man powers, which is convenient because the only way forward is to crawl along the walls and ceilings in order to get some regular human blood stuff to fool the blood scanner or something. I don't know. It's shit happens, and now you're a weird little freak.
Yeah, you gotta get a sample of regular blood to fool the blood scanner to let you take the elevator, and I'm like, if it doesn't actually need to, like, if it can be fooled so easily, why don't we just use dogs' blood?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Eventually, we make it down into the lab where we find Dr. Jacobs, who is completing a transformation of his own, and we take him out of his misery. Elliot now grows some tentacles on his back, and he has 30 minutes before he transforms completely, where Dogs promises us that he will stop looking for a cure and take him out of his misery. So Janine calls Elliot, and she freaks out when she sees him, and Dog says that Elliot has been infected, and he has to find the right medicine to turn him back. So we head to the medical lab, where they just have the anti-slime medicine laying around. So Elliot drinks it and returns to normal. After having to like do a 4-step process to get the blood to get through the elevator, the fact that you walk into the medical lab and just grab the medicine is very weird for this game.
You haven't mentioned that Dogs has been dressed as Santa this whole section of the game.
Yes.
They have to leave behind their regular clothes and get new outfits that are not dirty, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So the only one in Dogs' size is a Santa suit.
I didn't know if that was a because there are several different outfits you can just like find and pick up to change people's look, and I didn't know if the Let's Play I was watching you have to do that or if those were hidden outfits. And of course, you would wear the Santa outfit. Why would you not? But yeah,
No,
so
you have to have dogs wear the Santa outfit.
that's
It's important to the story.
that's very good. So now that Elliot is back to normal, we make it down to where the blue light was, and they say, I think the light was coming from here. The blue light, which can't be analyzed. Blue light. Let's go. Inside,
Let's go.
inside, they find some large monsters strung up to some science bullshit, and they think this must be what Kimura was This must be what Kimura was doing, and there might be a report on it somewhere. They find Dr. Kimura's ID, and they use it to access the security camera, which is actually not a security camera. It's a holographic recreation of what happened, complete with like detailed scans of the object and shit. I don't know why they call it the security camera.
They call it a security camera multiple times.
The answer is because this game is incredible and terrible.
So it shows the big space missile thing that shot down through the compound, but it stopped halfway through. It didn't make it all the way through. So we decide to go and look at it, and Dog says that it looks like something is underneath there, and the disc that we found when we found Dr. Kimura's ID card might have something on it, so we should take it to Janine. So now, again, we head all the way back to Janine and watch the security camera thing again, where now she talks over it, explaining
You didn't mention that on the way back to Janine, we can't use the Jeep.
Oh, again, in the Let's Play, he just walked right past it. I didn't know you couldn't use the Jeep.
Yeah, you take the Jeep there, but you can't take the Jeep back because there's been an earthquake and all the roads are out, and you have to walk on these really tiny platforms to get through, and you can fall off the platforms and die.
Oh boy, I love it when a game
fun.
that isn't about platforming adds in high stakes platforming. That's always good.
There are items called life hooks, which will save you, but there's only so many.
That's stupid. So, watching the security camera thing with Janine, she explains that the meteor is Nephilim's body, and it sent its soul to Elliot to ask for help because it can't make it through the 7 shutters that are protecting the big honking thing in the middle of the island that's top secret. Thankfully, we have that disc, which isn't password protected or protected at all. Janine just says, I think this is the right file, and that's all she has to do to get this top secret information. And it shows us codename Jaskany. Arrived in planet Earth 65 million years ago. Began hatching in 2000 AD. Estimated date on hatching completion is 2018 AD. And it is that big dragony thing from Nephilim's visions. And then suddenly, it all makes sense. This dragon thing's egg is the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. And the earthquake that happened in 2000 was when it started hatching. Kimura Tech had a satellite in geosynchronous orbit aiming weapons directly at the egg, but when Nephilim showed up, she crashed right through it, so now there is no fail-safe. But it's okay. Janine has an idea. She sends Elliot to her flat to get her sniper rifle, and she says that she'll explain later. The sniper rifle that she currently has and has used before doesn't count. We have to go get a new one.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
So
maybe that's like a short range rifle, and because this is a really long range thing that they're doing.
So we do a whole lot of bullshit and learn how to swim to get to Janine's apartment. But when we get there, we're locked out because her friends disabled her house key to force her to go to their Christmas party as a prank, which I think would piss me off so much. I would become a necromorph and go and kill everyone in this Christmas party.
This is, I think, my favorite plot point in the entire game. It's so hilarious. Just like the mundane roadblock of your coworkers playing a stupid prank on you to force you to go to their company holiday party. Evil. Incredible. I love it.
So Elliot and Dogs, of course, have to go to the Christmas party, which you can tell is a Christmas party because on the wall in large gold letters are the words Christmas party. And of course, everyone there is dead with monsters eating their corpses. The classic holiday party tradition.
Yeah.
I think that's what Wassail is.
Yeah. We make our way into Janine's flat by crawling through her chimney because this is a Christmas game. And we finally see that Dogs is Janine's dad. And no, it doesn't make any sense why anyone acts the way that they do to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so apparently Janine has known all along, but didn't say
Bring it up.
anything.
Yeah.
And Dogs is like, oh my gosh, that means the Janine King that we've been talking with is the Janine King that's my daughter, which never occurred to me as a possibility, even though she has the same name and is the right age.
There is
also it's like he and his wife. There's a picture of he and his wife and Janine as a little kid on her like shelf, and that's how they figure it out. And he's like, yeah, we got divorced and stuff, and I don't remember why and stuff. And I'm like, what? But I'm like, but you never saw your kid after that, man.
Especially because they got a divorce and then the mom died. And you're just like, well, not my problem. We're divorced. I don't have to check in on my daughter. Oh, it's stupid.
I mean, it makes sense that they got divorced because Dogs is obviously very homosexual, but...
Yes. You can be homosexual and be a dad. It's okay. So we get Janine's sniper rifle and we make our way back to her again. She and Dogs begin to talk it out when Nephilim rises from the floor with a spooky fucking face on. And this trick is called resolution skip. So they frame perfect skip having to have a resolution to any of their issues. And Janine just says, Dad. And that's the end of that scene. Janine tells us the plan. The shutters run on hydraulic power, and if we destroy the pumps, the shutter should open so Nephilim's body can fall into the egg. And Elliot is like, okay, how do we destroy the hydraulic power? And Janine's like, shoot it. And Elliot's like, of course, there's one action in this game. It's shoot.
There's also melee.
Yes, there is melee. Around this time, you can find the fucking lightsaber, and that's cool. It's stupid that there would be a lightsaber in this game, but you can find it anyways, and it's a very cool melee weapon. So we head to the Wave Tower, which has a good view of the hydraulic pump, and it's accessed by the stupidest design for a boat ever. It is like an inflatable raft with a submersible type hood on it, but it doesn't go underwater. It floats on top of the water, and because it has the submersible type thing, you have to lay down on your back to ride in the raft. It's very stupid.
When Janine stepped in first and laid down, I was so confused. I was like, is that the position you need for your injured leg to feel okay, or what's going on here? But then Dogs got in, and then the hood went down, and I was like, oh, I guess that's just how this is?
But because there's only room for 2 people, Elliot has to swim and fight necromorphs on the way. On the other end, Janine and Dogs get stuck in the elevator on the way to the top of the tower, so Elliot has to climb it the hard way to help them, because the safety controls for the elevator are smartly at the top of the tower and not at the bottom, which is definitely up to building code on Dinosaur Island. Elliot raises the father-daughter duo to the roof of the tower, and Janine gets to work setting up her rifle, which she needs an insane 3 minutes and 45 seconds to take her sniper rifle out of the case.
Have y'all seen that Make Some Noise clip of Josh doing the most intense sniper rifle in the world? I think that's what she has.
That is exactly what she has. So you have to fight off waves of monsters for 3 minutes and 45 seconds while she's setting up her sniper rifle.
Such a long time. I'm glad I didn't have to do it because I'd stopped playing a bit before this.
Yeah, no, I would not. Apparently, it's really simple. In the Let's Play I was watching, Dogs has a Gatling gun that you can get at this point, and so you can just mow him down for the whole time. But it's still way too long. It took longer for the guy at the beginning it took shorter for the guy at the beginning to die than it does for this countdown. So she finishes setting up her sniper rifle, and she takes the shot, which opens the shutters, now allowing Nephilim to make her way down to the interior of the egg. She slams into it, which wakes the beast, and she and the monster have a big, ugly, unreadable kaiju fight, which Nephilim apparently loses, so Elliot has to fight the thing himself. Except maybe not. I think it's an unrelated giant kaiju monster, because when you kill it, it flashes back to the Gigadent, and Nephilim is still fighting the dragon thing, and then she wins and sprouts wings, flies to space, and then it starts snowing in the Gulf of Mexico as a Christmas miracle, and then the credits roll, because that's the end of the game.
I don't know.
I have no answers for you.
Oh.
I don't fucking know.
But there's also the post-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
See
a
you next
post-credit
adventure.
Yeah, there's a post-credit sequence that implies that Nephilim was also behind the meteor that sent the giant dragon in the first place. She floats into space and then becomes a gun thing that shoots out the same looking meteor from the first cutscene. And afterwards it says, "See you in the next adventure." But this plan took 65 million years. I will not be here for the next adventure. He also did not aim it at Earth. What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't fucking
know.
know what's going on in this game.
I don't fucking know. So let's listen to the other song, because there are only two in this game and we picked one of them earlier. So we'll listen to the other song and then talk about our memorable moments.
When I went to KH Insider and looked up the soundtrack, there were like 12 tracks, and I was like, that seems high.
It seems really high.
I'm pretty sure there are a few variations on the one exploration theme.
Mm-hmm. So, this game was made in English by Japanese native speakers who are not English native speakers, and there is so much good English in this game, especially in the written text. So in the security camera, obviously, it shows DINASAUR aisle, so dinosaur aisle.
Yes, I loved it.
And then right above it is the horizon, but instead of calling it the horizon, it's the horizontal line. It's in a horizontal line, not a horizon. It's just a horizontal line. In case you couldn't tell, this line right here, it's horizontal, not vertical.
I love it.
One thing I did... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, fun fact about the three characters in this game.
Mm-hmm.
They're voiced by Sonic Adventure Sonic, is Elliot, Sonic Adventure Eggman is Dogs, and Sonic Adventure 2 Rouge the Bat is Janine.
Oh my god, that's amazing!
That's beautiful. They do much better as furry animals than they do in this game.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his name is Dean Bristow, is the guy who is Dogs and Eggman in the Sonic Adventure games. I love his Eggman so much.
Oh, his Eggman's very good.
His Dogs is funny.
There aren't a lot of great voice actors in Sonic Adventure 1, but he is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, a pleasant thing about the game, which is just every time Nephilim interacts with you and you get hit with the visions, I hate it because it is done in like this flashing of images in a way like
Mhm.
I don't have, epilepsy or anything. I don't have that particular issue with that sort of thing. It just hurt my eyes. Like
Yeah.
it just was aggressively uncomfortable to look at. It was also just
Yeah.
hard to understand what it was showing me. And like
Mhm.
that's probably at least a
Yeah.
little bit the point, but you could make a vision hard to like decipher what you're seeing without also making it a headache.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, being a Sega game, that you can go to the Sega arcade on the island, but instead of playing any Sega games, you do a shooting gallery with your regular ass guns, and you just take out a shotgun and you just shoot the things, and it counts as a win. And so you get this stuffed animal to give to a little girl for a side quest.
So I got to that point and I did it. I put the token in the machine and the things came up and I was like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to shoot them. And I tried shooting them for a while and it wasn't working. So I figured, oh, I'm doing something wrong. So I've got to do something else. So I'm like running around pressing the action button, trying to get my hands on whatever fake gun I'm supposed to use. No, you do use your real guns. The aiming just sucks.
Sucks so bad.
Actually, it for most of the game, the auto aim onto enemies works pretty dang well,
Mhm.
but it sucked for the big game hunter
Yeah,
minigame thing.
and also flying enemies. The little bat-shaped ones always pissed me off every time because I couldn't aim at them.
My second point as a mem mom, because I just have the two, is that I think it's a really fun choice in a game like that. Like there's some sort of infection or thing, people are turning into monsters sort of plot. To actually have the main character get infected and start to turn and to slowly get more and more monstery, that's a fun choice. I enjoyed that, which is why I also feel like absolute coward's way out that it gets cured so quickly. Or at all. Listen. I don't want to stereotype the women of the trans ladies, my sisters out there, but I know for a fact many of them who, if asked, would absolutely gladly transform into a weird freako monster. Boo! I say boo.
Yeah, and the fact that it was mostly done to have a Spider-Man sequence in the game is very bizarre, and I love it
It's
so
so
much.
weird.
This game is weird, man.
It's so weird, but it's weird in that way that games of that era could sometimes be weird, where it was just like, wow, there's some really fun ideas here, and you were, at least in some areas, you were really ambitious in a way that's really fun. But in other ways, this game is just a slog.
Yeah, I don't regret playing some of this game.
Yeah,
I mean, same.
I am glad that I played it for a bit and then watched it as a let's play. I feel like
Same.
I feel like I have learned a lot about Dreamcast horror games by playing it, and I appreciate a lot of the things it did. And I am never playing it again.
Yeah.
I have
And Dogs
urge
was
to play
awesome.
it. Dogs is awesome.
You are now dogs.
Yeah. This was a fun one. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I can't think of a single thing.
I'm ending this.
Accidentally clicked it twice and it stopped it.
It's perfect. So that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help support us. If you do, you get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, the Gadabout tier gets access to our bonus feed, where we have after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show that are backer only. They also get access to our poll, which we are closing as of recording right now, and it's not close. We will be playing Lufia 1 and 2 by a whole lot. It's like 80% to 20%. Resounding support for Lufia.
I
So-
wanted Golden Sun.
Me too.
I'm
Also-
happy. I'm putting my fingers together, laughing maniacally.
So I've been playing a little bit of Lufia 1. I started playing it before I even knew if it was going to win or not. I just wanted an RPG to play. So I was playing it a little bit, and I think Lufia 1 is a regular-ass RPG, and so technically does not fall under the RPGs with Zelda puzzles that Lufia 2 definitely does. So maybe Lufia 1 is just going to be a regular-ass RPG. We'll see how it shakes out. At $5 a month, the Warrior tier gets all of the above, but I also get to say their names at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shouts to Frosthair, Dragonslayer 19, Kildranas, Freddy Rodriguez, Aaron524, and J4 Prime. And then at $20 a month, the Luminary tier gets all of the above, plus a one-sentence shout-out to whatever it is that they're passionate about. Shoutouts to El Tantivy, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. And then shoutouts to Vimke, who says, in the dark, she made an opening amble of the field's perimeter, and she pressed her hands up hard against the cold and oily rock of the cave walls. And it's Clear Time says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game. I just think it's neat. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
Happy holidays.